Hello, it is December time, and I want to do something I haven't done before. I want to list off my 10 most favorite games of this year. And all you need to know that is this is all my opinion, so if there's a game on this list that you think should have been on it, I probably haven't played it. How about you just tell me in the comments below. At number 10 is Far Cry Primal. Far Cry Primal is an action-adventure video game where you take the place as Turok, the last survivor of his tribe after a saber-tooth tiger attack. The goal of the game is to rebuild that tribe and fight off the other two rival tribes to become the most dominant apex predator in the game. Some pros of the game is the setting of the game. You are a caveman during the Stone Age using bow and arrows, spears, and clubs instead of modern weapons. The environment, like the open world, looks great, and taming wild animals is a fun feature of the game. They really mix up combat. Some cons of the game are basic storyline, and the side missions can get very repetitive, but it's not too bad. At number 9 is Gone Home Console Edition. I know this game released earlier on the PC, but I recently got the console version free on PSN, and it did release in the beginning of this year. Gone Home is a first-person adventure explorer video game, which is a walking simulator. It is set in 1995 in Portland, Oregon. The goal of the game is to explore the mansion you are in to find out the story of the person you're playing as. Some pros of the game are the story is excellent, the art design is good, and is a very relaxing game to play. Some cons are the game is short.
You finished high school before we moved into this house.
At number 8 is Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2 is an open-world action-adventure video game. You play as Marcus Holloway, a hacker living in San Francisco. You join up with a hacking group called DedSec to expose the hidden danger of CTOS.2. Some pros of the game are you actually play as a likable character, unlike the last Watch Dogs game. The open world is beautiful and immersive, and the hacking mechanic is a fun gameplay tool. Some cons of the game are the enemies of the game are not really that iconic and forgettable, and the multiplayer seems tacked on. At number 7 is Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet & Clank is an action platform with sci-fi elements. It is a remake of the old PS2 game of the same name. You team up with Clank and become space rangers to save the universe from Chairman Drake. Some pros of the game are the graphics are really nice looking, the storyline is good, there's a lot of variety in the weapons, and the boss fights are fun. Some cons, there are, my personal opinion, the Clank only parts of the game. At number 6 is Destiny Rise of Iron. Destiny Rise of Iron is a sci-fi shooter with RPG elements, and is the final expansion of the first Destiny game. Alright, the story is that you're a guardian, and then the Fallen Devils unleashed a new enemy, Siva, a cybernetic virus. She takes over the Fallen Devils and they become Blicers. It is your job to stop them and save the universe from Siva, while at the same time find out the story of the Iron Lords and how they all fallen. Some pros of the game are the new weapons and light level, the added story to the game, and the added multiplayer content in Raid. Some cons of the game are the voice acting is not as good as normal, your character becomes a mute, and the Taken King expansion was much better than this one. At number 5 is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Dragon Ball Xenoverse is a fighting game with role-playing elements. You create your own character and set in the Dragon Ball universe. You are a time patroller and you team up with Trunks to keep the timeline of the Dragon Ball Z series from being damaged or changed. Battle it out with villains such as Frieza himself from the show and movie villains like Lord Slug and Taurus. Some pros of the game is the character creator is much more deeper than the last game. They improved the fighting mechanics. They added a lot to the story from the original game and more activities to do in the hub world, and being more technical superior from the last game, reaching 60 frames a second. Some cons of the game are the lip sync of the characters in the story is awful. And playing co-op with other people, sometimes only the team leader gets credit for the mission's completion. At number 4 is Inside. Inside is a puzzle platformer side-scrolling game. Now, I can't really describe the story for you because that would ruin the game. See, this game does not use any dialogue or text to tell the story. It's all in the actual gameplay and the animations of the characters. So the story is purely visual. But what I can tell you about the story is that you play as a young boy and it's your job to keep him alive so he can head to his destination, whatever that may be. And on the way there, you're going to solve puzzles, avoid enemies, and run away from dogs. And there is one enemy in the game that scared me the first time I saw it. Best indie game that I have ever played. I highly recommend it. Some pros of the game are the art style really suits the game. There are some scenes in the game that will give you some tension while playing. The game is very easy to pick up and play. Not much of a learning curve with it. And a brilliant story without the use of dialogue. That is really key, that you can make a game with a good story without saying a single word. Some cons of the game are, after playing it the first time, there's not really that much replayability. And the ending is super vague, so some people might not like that. But still, it's the best indie game I have played. At number 3 is Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 is a first-person shooter based in World War I or the Great War. The campaign has 5 stories you can play through with a diverse set of casts on the Allied side. Each story is roughly around 2 to 5 chapters long and is a fun experience. And also teaches you the mechanics of the game for the multiplayer. And the multiplayer is very fun too, with matches with 64 players at a time, dynamic weather changes, and destructible environments, plus many ways to eliminate your enemies. Some pros of the game are the great looking graphics, sound and music are fantastic. The setting of the game being based in World War I is a nice change of pace for shooters. The gunplay is really good and a nice mix of multiplayer match types. Some cons of the game are the campaign is a little short and the multiplayer is not really realistic. But other than that, the game is great and I recommend it over Call of Duty. At number 2 is Overwatch. Overwatch is a multiplayer first-person shooter set on Earth in the future. You can choose from a diverse list of characters from all around the world and battle it out with other people in these epic team-based shootouts. The pros of the game are the list of characters you can pick. Characters are listed in one of 4 groups: attack, defense, heavy, or support. No 2 characters play the same, so it gives you plenty of variety and options to pick what you like. The graphics and art style look amazing. They're the type that in 10 years they'll still look good. The game has good map design, and it is easy to learn how to play Overwatch. It's not complicated like a mobile or a different shooter can be. And there is strategy in the game. Each character is better suited for against another character. That can keep the game very competitive. Now, some cons of the game that I like to mention are, I don't like the way the loot crates are designed. It's all random, and there's no way to earn currency to get a specific item that you want. All the currency you get are from the loot crate, and once again, it's all random. So it might take a while for you to get enough money to get a certain skin that you might want. And it doesn't have a campaign, even though that the commercials and the little short stories they have in the in the comic books and in the YouTube videos they had really made it feel like it should have had a story, like a campaign story in the game. But no, it's just something to build up the world, and I was kind of disappointed on that. But if you're thinking about getting this game, you should get it, okay? It's a great game. It's a lot of fun, especially with friends, and they're not charging some lame season pass for new maps or characters. Everything's free. Just get the game, and then you don't have to pay a dime after that. You won't miss out on any like content or brand new characters or maps. So, I recommend this game. At number 1, and my favorite game of this year, is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Uncharted 4 is an action-adventure third-person shooter. The game is based 3 years after the third Uncharted game. You play as Nathan Drake set out on a new adventure to help out his long-lost brother Sam. Sam and Drake must set off to a journey to find Libertalia, a pirate utopia somewhere in Madagascar. Okay, some pros of the game are: the incredible story and characters of the game are amazing. The game has great cinematic cutscenes. The graphics of the game are at their max with the PS4. The voice acting is incredible, with Troy Baker and Nolan North starring in the game. They have a glorious world with strong visuals. You really get to see it when you're in a large area of the game and you have free reign to explore that area. And the new mechanic with the rope makes platforming the environment more fun. The action sequences in the game are excellent. And the multiplayer is actually good, which I'm surprised because I thought it would be something tacked on like normally. But I actually enjoyed the multiplayer. The only con that I had with the game is probably its slow start in the beginning of the story. But other than that, I didn't really have any problems. Uncharted 4 is the best game I played this year, and hands down, and that's why it's number 1 on this list. Alright, before I end this video, I just like to say thank you for anyone who made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate it, and I'm probably going to do a worst games of 2016 list. And it's probably not going to be the worst games, probably the games that disappointed me the most. So that video will probably be up soon. And I guess that's going to be all. Have a nice day, guys, and laters.